It's NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. The trade deadline is nearing. I have 10 players who we believe will get traded prior to the deadline and where they will exactly land. We'll go over that in just a moment. But first, a little challenge out there for our NFL Daily viewers. I want to see if we can get 20 subscribers off today's video. I don't think that's asking too much. If you want more NFL coverage, like what you're seeing here, then come on in and stay a while. Be a part of what we're doing each and every day on the channel. Subscribe now for free. Let's get 20 subs. Let's start with Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. I am predicting that Derrick Henry will end up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I got to tell you, the reason why that I'm picking Derrick Henry to end up in Tampa Bay has to do with that team being better than I think some people expected them to be. They're contending in that division, but they need a little help in that run game. Look, I like Baker Mayfield. I'm a fan of Baker. I think he's a decent quarterback. But I don't want Baker Mayfield throwing it 45 times a game. They need a way to establish the run. They need a way to run the football. Tampa Bay intrigues me of being a run-first football team to open up the play action for Baker Mayfield. And you talk about physical and tough. You put Derrick Henry and Mike Evans there in that same skill position group, all of a sudden, to me, that sounds intriguing about the idea of sending Derrick Henry to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers potentially. And then you're in the driver's seat to win the division. And then from there, we're talking about the Bucs in the playoffs, and you just get in, you figure it out, everything else out from that point. Will Derrick Henry get traded? I know a lot of people are expecting him to get traded and would like to see him on their team. Still one of the best running backs in football. Is he going to leave Tennessee when it's all said and done? Because he's not coming back next year. What do you guys think? It's our pinned comment today. Y for yes, in for no. Tell me what you think. Next up, Marquise Brown, wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, is the prediction there, going from Arizona to KC. And I think it was a pretty telling sign for the Chiefs when they brought back Mecole Hardman, because Mecole Hardman's time in Kansas City was a bit of a disappointment. That tells me that the Chiefs are very desperate when it comes to the receiver spot right now. And Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, with all that speed and his ability to get downfield, that's exactly what Patrick Mahomes needs and could use right now. He's off to a decent start to 2023 with bad quarterback play, having to deal with Josh Dobbs, right? 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. You put him with Patrick Mahomes, we could see Hollywood Brown potentially play at a Pro Bowl level as far as that goes. Another wide receiver, Courtland Sutton, I have him going to Green Bay and joining the Green Bay Packers. It would be pretty ironic, wouldn't it, if Green Bay, after not giving Aaron Rodgers all the weapons that he wanted for so many years, if somehow they got aggressive and made a move for a receiver to help out Jordan Love here. Look, the Packers, I think, are one of those teams that are kind of hard to figure out. And I'm not expecting the Packers to be sellers necessarily. I would think that they want to put Jordan Love in a position to see what they have and try to succeed. He needs a little help, though. Watch out. I could see that working for Green Bay to go with Sutton there. Let's go to safety now, and that's where we find Kevin Byard of the Tennessee Titans. And I am predicting that he ends up in Philadelphia. The Eagles are looking for some potential help at the safety position, which is one of their few weaknesses at this point in time. And when you talk about the Eagles, you can't not talk about Howie Roseman and his great track record of being aggressive and making the necessary moves to compete at a high level. And KB, I'm telling you this right now, would be an incredible fit with what the Eagles are wanting to do with that defense. And we've seen him play at a high level previously. Watch out. Go to a Philadelphia defense that has other talent around him where he's not asked to do too much. To me, that makes a lot of sense for Kevin Byard to end up with Philly. Then we go to New England. That's where we find Josh Uche. And I got to tell you, I like the idea of Josh ending up in Seattle with the Seattle Seahawks. And here's the thing. You can get Josh U for probably about a fifth-round pick. And Seattle doesn't have a ton of cap space to spend. This is a Seattle team that could use another pass rusher or two. I know their pass rushes look better the last couple of weeks as they've had 14 sacks in the last 2 games. But even with that said, for the Seahawks, with the inconsistencies and injuries that could happen, it's better to have more than not enough. And that's where I think Josh Uche could fall in. He's finally starting to come into his own there in New England. Got 2 sacks, 6 tackles already this season. Watch out. I think that could be a good fit for Seattle. They'd be very pleased to have him on board. Who's a player that will get traded at the trade deadline? We've named a few already. What do you guys think? Weigh in that comment section. Give us a couple names or two, and where do you think they ultimately end up in that comment section. Chime in and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the place to go for daily fantasy sports made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players, and it's real simple. You decide if they are going to hit more or less on a specific number that they are given when it comes to yardage or receptions, pass attempts, carries, whatever it may be. They have all sorts of different stuff. For me this weekend, I'm looking out for Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins. I like Baker to hit more than 221.5 passing yards against the Atlanta Falcons. And I like Cousins to hit more than 232.5 passing yards against the San Francisco 49ers. You can get your entries in now and get a $100 deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use promo code CLNS at checkout for that deposit bonus. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Check them out, PrizePicks, for that $100 deposit match, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Now let's turn our attention to Carl Lawson, who has been kind of phased out of sorts of the Jets defense. And the Raiders, who we all thought were going to be pretty bad, oddly enough, are in somewhat position to be buyers. I think part of the reason why, too, is that McDaniels and Ziegler know that they are trying to hold on to their jobs, right? If McDaniels gets fired, Ziegler gets fired. And so although they're not that great of a team, they're in wild card contention for now, so I could see them being aggressive and trying to make a move and getting a pass rusher like Carl Lawson, potentially. You pair him up with Max Crosby, all of a sudden, maybe Lawson starts to come to life and play a pivotal role in that Raiders defense to put them over the top where they want to go. Next on the list, we go to the corner position, staying in Tennessee, and that's where we find Kristian Fulton. And I'm looking at the idea of Fulton going to Pittsburgh to joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let me tell you why. The Steelers aren't getting what they expected out of Patrick Peterson. He was supposed to be a big addition for that Steelers defense, and it hasn't really worked out. The Steelers are another team that still thinks that they're a solid football team. That, you know, what is it? They're only a half game or a game back in their division right now and still in contention for the wild card. They need some help. Now, they got some issues at the quarterback spot offensively, and their offensive line isn't very good. But you add him to the fold with that defensive backfield, that could potentially help this Steelers defense go a long way. Let's talk receiver now. That's where we find Terrace Marshall Jr. of the Carolina Panthers. And I'm looking out for the LA Rams. Now, not many of us were expecting much out of the LA Rams in 2023. But here we are. The Rams are not a bad football team. And you think about it, with the guys that they have there, Stafford and Aaron Donald and company, this might be their last chance to kind of do something. So it might be their last chance to kind of try to see what they can do to help out Stafford and make one last playoff push before these guys disappear. Marshall, you add him to that receiving core, and you already have Cooper Kupp there and some of these other guys here. Maybe that gets this LA offense rolling and shows some consistency like we saw against Seattle and against Arizona and be able to do that week in and week out. So watch out for the Rams to be players on that front. What team needs to make a move the most at the deadline? Weigh in the comment section. We've already named several teams as potential buyers. What say you? Chime in that comment section. Give me a team that comes to mind that you would like to see make a move here within the next couple of weeks. As we're wrapping up, a couple more names here. Trent Brown, offensive tackle with the Rams. We are looking at him going from the Patriots to the LA Rams. And, I don't see the Rams just stopping with one move. What history tells us with Stan Kroenke and that bunch in LA is when they're all in, they're all in. And right now, that offensive line could use a little bit of help. Trent Brown might be exactly what they're looking for potentially. Has Trent Brown looked great? No, but the size is there. And I got to tell you, when I look at that LA Rams team, a little more protection for Stafford. I know that he's dealt with the injuries. That might be something that puts the Rams over the top potentially of where they want to go. If they're going to make a move, I would think multiple moves. Trent Brown could make sense for them. Last on the list, Mr. Jewell himself, the linebacker from the Denver Broncos. We are looking at him going to the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins look like a serious threat. One of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC. But they could use some reinforcements on their defense. In particular, that linebacker room, Jewell seems to be a potential fit for that team to put them in serious contention. Kind of like the LA Rams. They don't always care about their picks. They care about making moves for being aggressive and getting veterans. Jewell could potentially fill that void there for the Dolphins. If you enjoyed today's show, go ahead and subscribe now for more NFL coverage here on NFL Daily, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel.